When you hear the name Albert Einstein, what comes to mind? That iconic wild hair, the gentle smile, the lone genius whose equations unlock the cosmos? But what if I told you this image is incomplete? That Einstein's true legacy wasn't forged in isolation, but on the fierce intellectual battlefields of modern physics. For over 5 decades, Einstein waged a relentless campaign to defend his vision of a deterministic universe, a cosmos governed by strict cause and effect, where nothing was left to chance. This wasn't just academic curiosity, it was a philosophical crusade. And standing against him, some of the greatest minds of the 20th century. The most explosive conflict erupted over quantum mechanics. To Einstein, the prevailing Copenhagen interpretation, championed by Niels Bohr, Werner Heisenberg, and Wolfgang Pauli, felt like surrender. Their theory declared reality fundamentally probabilistic, particles existing in ghostly superpositions until measured. God does not play dice with the universe, Einstein thundered. He saw this randomness not as revolutionary, but as proof the theory was incomplete, missing hidden variables or deeper laws. Their legendary clashes at the Solvay conferences, 1927 to 1933, weren't polite exchanges. Einstein crafted brilliant thought experiments like the photon box and the EBR paradox to expose quantum absurdity. Ironically, his attacks didn't destroy quantum theory, they strengthened it, forcing defenders to refine their ideas. But Einstein's fiercest opponent was sometimes himself. Take the cosmological constant, lambda. In 1917, he inserted this fudge factor into his general relativity equations to preserve a static universe, the accepted model then. But when Edwin Hubble discovered cosmic expansion in 1929, Einstein discarded lambda as his greatest blunder. The twist? Decades later, lambda was resurrected to explain dark energy, the mysterious force accelerating the universe's expansion. His mistake was prophetic, yet he abandoned it for empirical evidence, proving even titans bow to data. Then came the philosophical ghost haunting Einstein, Ernst Mach. Mach's radical idea that inertia stems from the collective gravity of distant stars, Einstein's general relativity. But after crafting the theory, Einstein realized it lacked Mach's principle. In a near-empty universe, inertia would still exist. His desperate attempts to force Mach's vision into relativity birthed the very cosmological constant he'd later renounce. From inspiration to intellectual burden, Mach's legacy became a paradox Einstein couldn't resolve. Finally, Einstein's lonely quest for a unified field theory isolated him. While peers embraced quantum leaps, he spent 30 years chasing a single framework merging gravity and electromagnetism, dismissing quantum weirdness as a temporary ailment. Colleagues like Wolfgang Pauli watched with dismay. Pauli quipped, "What God has put asunder, let no man join," a biting jab at Einstein's stubborn idealism. Today, string theory and quantum gravity continue his unification dream, yet they incorporate the quantum principles he resisted. So why does this matter? Because Einstein's battles reveal science as a human drama. His refusal to accept cosmic dice rolls wasn't arrogance, it was deep faith in a universe governed by comprehensible order. These collisions of intellect, these duels under the lab coat, weren't distractions. They fueled progress, tested foundations, and remind us even genius is honed in the fire of dissent. As Einstein himself admitted, his greatest fights weren't against enemies, but for truth. And that changes everything we thought we knew about the man behind E equals mc squared. These intellectual duels weren't waged in a vacuum. While Einstein sparred with Bohr and grappled with cosmic constants, far darker storms gathered. We must shatter another myth. Einstein wasn't just battling theories, he was fighting for his very existence against ideological and political enemies who saw his genius as a threat. The most vicious conflict erupted from the rise of Nazi Germany. Einstein's Jewish heritage and pacifist ideals made him a prime target. Enter the architects of Deutsche Physik, German physics. Physicists Philipp Lenard and Johannes Stark, both Nobel laureates turned rabid anti-Semites. They denounced relativity as Jewish science, a Bolshevik plot corrupting Aryan thought. Their propaganda machine branded Einstein a traitor, plastering his face on pamphlets beside headlines screaming, "Not yet hanged." The 1933 book burnings deliberately torched his works, a chilling symbol of how ideology sought to erase truth. Einstein, in exile, watched his German citizenship ripped away as colleagues turned on him overnight. This persecution ignited Einstein's fierce humanitarian crusade. He transformed from reluctant public figure to relentless rescuer. Using his global fame, Einstein became a one-man asylum network. He wrote countless affidavits, lobbied U.S. officials, and even mortgaged life insurance policies to secure visas for over 1,000 Jewish scientists and intellectuals fleeing Nazi Europe. His clout created lifelines for giants like Lisa Meitner and Otto Stern. This wasn't charity, it was defiance. He understood that saving minds was key to saving civilization itself, declaring, "Yet sanctuary in America brought new battles." Einstein's unwavering pacifism and socialist sympathies attracted relentless scrutiny. The FBI, under J. Edgar Hoover, amassed a 1,427-page dossier convinced he was a Soviet asset. Agents infiltrated his lectures, intercepted mail, and surveilled his Princeton home for decades. His support for civil rights, condemning lynching and befriending Paul Robeson, enraged segregationists, branding him a radical. Even his scientific refuge, the Institute for Advanced Study, became a pressure cooker. Director Abraham Flexner tried censoring Einstein's political statements, fearing they'd jeopardize funding. Einstein threatened resignation, roaring. His moral clarity clashed with Cold War paranoia. Then came the devastating nuclear paradox. In 1939, fearing Nazi atomic ambitions, Einstein reluctantly signed Leo Szilard's letter urging Roosevelt to develop the atomic bomb, a decision that haunted him forever. When Hiroshima was obliterated, he uttered, "Overnight, the pacifist became tragically linked to history's deadliest weapon." His post-war pleas for global disarmament and world government alienated Cold Warriors. Former allies like Edward Teller, father of the hydrogen bomb, dismissed him as naive. The Atomic Energy Commission revoked his security clearance in 1954, humiliating the century's greatest physicist under suspicion of communist sympathies. Science, weaponized, had turned against its prophet.